Hello, this is the Axis of Action. Tonight's episode is going to be about animations. There are a lot of animations over the years. However, many of us have our own particular favorite. So, tonight with me is Average Gamer,
Bandit,
Cave Johnson,
Dark Side.
Webman.
Jimmel.
okay.
Webman, you're last.
I know.
Webman.
Again?
Here's the end of the alphabet.
Okay.
Since I don't have a list, who am I after?
You'd be after Darkseid, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Then
All right.
Sergey. then.
I just heard a silence. That's how I know when it's my time to go. When there's a long
Because I'm
silence.
not looking at a screen, so I was like,
No problem.
yeah.
It's like a time-based event. You know, you have to hit the circle at the right time. Like, bam.
Average Gamer,
Goddamn quick time
Bandit,
event.
Dark Side, Jimmel, Sergey. I'm after Sergey.
Okay. I'm ready. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take three.
Take three.
Take three.
Active action, take three. Swipe one.
KU 6905.
Hello, this is the Axis of Action. On tonight's episode, we'll be discussing our favorite animations. I'm Average Gamer.
Bandit.
I'm Cave Johnson.
Dark Side.
Hi, I'm Jimmel.
Sergey.
Webman.
Okay, I shall begin. For me, my favorite animation is, I know, with the spooning experiment, people will roll their eyes because I'm going to be very predictable. Batman, The Mask of the Phantasm. With this film, in context, it's a film based on the origins of the Batman from the animated series. It's very highly entertaining, high quality, and very surprisingly dark for being a supposedly, quote, I'm quoting, children's flick. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of love, and a lot of tragedy. And for me, what I enjoy about it is how they stay truthful, faithful to the story of Batman, but they add certain things to it, such as Andrea Beaumont and other characters to make it original. What else? What can I say? This is awkward. It sounds like Alcoholics
You can
Anonymous.
talk brilliant music by the late Shirley Walker.
Oh yes, Shirley Walker makes it really good. Sound effects are excellent. The voice acting is great. I mean, again, it shows why Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill have been still doing the same character for the last 20 years.
20 years.
And more.
Yeah, this is like almost. It came out in I think '92, so it was his 20th anniversary last year.
Man, I feel old. So, and I think what also makes it great is that, I mean, it does a good job making it taking some adult situations and doing a good job. It's not keeping it ambiguous, but helping kids understand some adult things are going on. For example, Andrea Beaumont and Bruce Wayne get it on. That's it. And you don't see what happens, and I think you just leave Bruce Timm on Rule 34 and you're good to go. But at the same time, the violence is, they push the violence that you don't see on the television version of it. For example, you see the Joker's tooth get knocked out in one scene. It's like, that was for me, shocking because, come on, this is a children's flick. You don't expect it to happen.
Well,
And he ruined Joker's grin. I mean, come on.
it wasn't so much the tooth as that in his last scene there's like blood coming out of his mouth. So.
Yep. And he took it pretty in stride. Like, oh, I lost my tooth. Oh, well, your attack copters go. I think what makes it good, I think great, is also just that how many other movies have done origins of Batman and how this one still holds up. For me, it's the quintessential way of how they introduce it. I mean, Bruce Wayne learns Andrea Beaumont breaks up with him. And ironically, it sticks with the Tim Burton version of that. Joker is what motivates Bruce Wayne to become Batman in its own right. And once you see the Batman, Bruce Wayne puts on the Batman mask, you hear the great music from Shirley Walker, and there are no words except for Alfred saying, "My God." and it for me it fits because just that's it. You don't need to do Christian Bale voice or anything like that. It felt you could see it feels monumental when he does the decision, which I never really sensed with Batman Begins.
Yeah, and I think with the Nolan movies is that there were times where it got a little bit too was philosophical, maybe a little bit too like the conversations are great, but sometimes they get kind of overbearing. And Mask of the Phantasm, I would say it's just short and sweet, especially that last piece of dialogue from Alfred where he says that he worried about Bruce turning out like Andrea did, becoming the Phantom.
Yeah, and I think what the difference is between for me the Christopher Nolan's version and this is that with Tim Burton and his team, they were telling a story. Here with Christopher Nolan, it feels like they're trying to add symbolism, if that makes sense, and they have to add all these twists, all these little stuff, all these things, and it feels really. I know actually that doesn't sound right, but looking at the story is that it felt like the Bruce Timm's team, they did a great job doing homages to the Bat mythos, but at the same time, they were telling a story.
And also, we have to also give props to Paul Dini as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he made it happen.
Paul Dini, he said this in a interview. He was talking about he liked to write all the kind of romantic stuff between Bruce and Andrea. Like all the other writers would be like, "Oh, I don't want to write the mushy stuff," and Paul's like, "I'll write it." So props to him.
I'm kind of curious. Average Gamer. You've mentioned a lot of like visceral stuff, kind of like how the movie sounds, how the various like kind of bits that they include and that sort of thing. What about the story? I mean, does that have some appeal to you still? I mean, do you find it like significantly like better than your average like Batman the Animated Series cartoon? Or
yeah, it's very adult. I mean, the story it's very tragic because it shows how close Batman never came to be, and in a sense, it's a necessary tragedy if it makes sense. Because when you put the whole DCAU into context, if Batman didn't became to be, probably the whole world would have been ended in several instances. I'm not saying that Batman's the all-powerful. I mean, all the heroes are integral to the Justice League. But without Batman, there would have been a serious gap missing, amongst the seven gods, if that makes sense.
And
of the Justice League.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and also, it should be noted that this film, compared to some of the other Batman films, is that I think with the animated series, particularly this film, it remembered that Batman is a detective, and that while all the other films there is a little bit of detective work, like there was a little bit of detective work in The Dark Knight, there was a little bit of detective work in the first Tim Burton movie. This one I think really it pays more attention to the fact that Batman is the so-called world's greatest detective, which I think has been sort of ignored in other types of media.
Yeah.
Interpretations, adaptations. It's just sort of like guy dresses up like a bat and kicks the shit out of people. That's it.
He's Bat Ninja.
Bat Ninja, exactly.
Yeah, and speaking of that, because part of us are implying about Frank Miller in this case, but looking at this, you see also Bruce Wayne struggling to be how am I supposed to be a superhero? And in his first instance as a vigilante, he's just dressed up with a mask. So that's about it. And he's trying to scare these criminals. And, oh, I'm so scared. And he doesn't scare them. And he does single-handedly finally take them all down, just barely. But he comes to realize he needs to bring fear into the criminals. And I think it's just brilliant because in a sense, it pays, gives a nod to Frank Miller and his idea of, yes, father, I shall become a bat.
Whatever.
But
Okay.
But at the same time, they make it different in the sense that when Bruce Wayne proposes to Andrea Beaumont, the bats come out. In a sense, it's a great change from, instead of crashing through the window, they're flying out of the cave. So it's an omen that we know it's like, oh, this bad stuff is going to happen. This is not going to end well.
I was going to say that there's some allusions to Frank Miller's Year One, especially the part where the SWAT team is chasing Batman into that construction site. I think that was used in one scene. I haven't read Year One, but I think that was used.
Yeah,
it was.
Section.
Yeah. Yes.
It did in Batman Begins too.
Yeah. Except there's no bats in this. I'm hoping I'm not taking too. Am I taking too long to do this?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'll try to make it quick. But there are a lot of dialogue, going back to Cave Johnson saying, a lot of things that hit home to me is that there's this one scene where Bruce Wayne is pleading to his parents because he's on this crossroads. Like, it's either Andrea Beaumont, or Batman. And he's pleading to them because he's made a promise, a very firm promise, that he's going to avenge their deaths. And now things have gone out of his control. And he's begging to them. And for me, the thing that hit me is that, and it still does now with my situation, it's like, it's like I never counted on being happy.
And it kind of shows how unstable Bruce is emotionally.
Yeah.
That he would think that his parents would be disappointed if he didn't go out at night and kick the shit out of criminals. Of course, they would never dream of him doing that. But it shows the kind of mind and how their deaths have affected him.
I don't know. Thomas Wayne was kind of a hard ass.
But, and I can understand, given that, I lost my father, and in the sense that I can understand that sorrow, because for me, in the sense that Bruce Wayne is also trying to carry on the legacy of his family in his own way. And I click with that, because I'm, with my father gone at such a young age. I was 21. But
Batman did a sure good job of doing that in the Nolan trilogy. He burnt down the house. He bankrupted the company.
Yeah. But what I'm just trying to say is, though, I'm just saying, I think that's one reason why I also love the story too, because in a sense, it's just how they wrote it. It clicked with me. It's like I understand. I know his pain and the struggle of trying to make your parents proud and doing good. So, symbolism.
Is there anything you didn't like about it?
It felt short. It felt like for me, it was like an hour-long episode, and it felt like it was good. I think for me, what was disappointing was that they didn't do this in the movies. There was a comic, DCAU comic on it, but they don't follow through with what happened to Andrea Beaumont and the Joker, because what happens is in the movies that Andrea teleports, if you want to say, teleports into the sewers, and she has a Joker who's laughing. He's completely out of his mind because he just thinks this whole thing's completely funny.
It's hilarious.
Don't you think the same, dear boy?
Okay. And what ends up happening is that it brings up, in the movie, Andrea Beaumont makes a point to Batman about how vigilantism, it really doesn't work, or it's like, it just shows how Bruce Wayne's issues are. And at the same time, what happens is that it shows that when Andrea Beaumont has the opportunity to kill the Joker, she can't do it, which is strange, but at the same time, it's film.
So when she was able to kill everybody else.
Yeah, it's strange, and at the same time, it's understandable because you got Bruce Wayne. Come on, you got Batman inside your head. It's like, I'm Batman. So anyway, but
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is there anything else? I don't want to bore you guys.
No, I just want to comment on the whole when you said it was short. I think the length was fine. I think that and it's been talked about by people who worked on the movie that Warner Brothers really didn't know how to market an feature animated film because, obviously they are well known on television. Obviously it's Warner Brothers, but they didn't. It wasn't like Disney in that sense. Whenever they had something in theaters, it was usually like a compilation piece, like the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie or whatever. And they didn't do They certainly didn't do a good job promoting it. It opened Christmas Day in 1992, and in an interview, Mark Hamill said that he was living in New York at the time, and he took his family to see it in Manhattan, and there was only 6 other people in the theater, and he invited them to sit in the same row as him and his family. So, just to comment on like how little people knew, but it did much better on home video. So
Yeah.
I think after that they decided, okay, it was kind of the start of the direct-to-video superhero movies. Because after that, Sub-Zero, and then of course all the recent DVD releases like Year One.
Yeah, the Warner Premiere stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my favorite. It's still great. I mean, you can't ask for more. So, Bandit, your turn.
Yeah. All right. How do I follow that? I really feel unprepared for this, but
Hey,
I'm gonna keep.
I winged it too. Don't worry about it.
You
Not
wing
calling
that?
else.
Jesus. You know all these people's names and crap. Yeah. I didn't do zero research on this. I just watched the film over again. It's not as good as I remember. It's Treasure Planet. That was always my favorite as a young lad. The movie is okay. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I like it mostly because it's a Disney film without the big theatrical Broadway musical shit. It's just it goes on to it's mostly a what I don't like it that goes into the music as well. What I don't like is what I like too. But what I don't like is it's essentially a vehicle for that guy with I can't remember his name. It was the lead man from the Goo Goo Dolls. He was doing most of the music in that movie, and the film kind of felt like a animated music video in some places. But yeah, that's mainly what I liked about it. Is it just didn't have that bullshit where everyone starts singing for no reason.
Yeah.
It just had like montages where there were songs when sort of appropriate. And I don't know anyone who was involved in the film except Martin Short, because he played this ridiculous robot character that was annoying as hell. Way annoying more than like Jar Jar Binks, but no one bitches about him on the internet.
Martin Short being annoying?
Yeah.
Surely you jest, sir.
Unthinkable.
Yeah. I really don't have anything more than that.
Yeah.
Well, what about the animation? What was it? What kind of art style did the art style make you feel like this is your favorite too?
Yeah, the mix of 3D and the traditional cell, really made this feel like a something different because back in I think it was like 2002 or something. It was just starting to get that way where more films were 3D. It was before Pixar, and it was just something new and something that felt more advanced and futuristic, given the the tone of the story where it's it's Treasure Planet in space.
It's
Treasure Island in space.
But out of curiosity, again, looking from the Batman Mask of the Phantasm, will this movie be considered also great for adults or just for kids?
Well, going back when I was watching it, I didn't like it that much. But, you know, it was too late to change what I was going to talk about. And I didn't have any other ideas except for this one film, and no one has ever heard of it.
Say it!
It's called The Halloween Tree.
I've heard of that. That's
I've seen it.
That's
I've
based
seen
off
it.
of
Ray Bradbury.
the Ray Bradbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And
haven't seen it.
I can't try. They never put it on DVD or anything. I had to track it down later in life on VHS, and then I had to track down a VHS player. And
Because
yes, and once you've lived most of your life in the era of DVDs, it's really hard to go back to VHS because of all the pops, acts, and stuff. And all
kids today.
I have that movie. I taped that movie off TV, so whenever I watch it, I see all those old commercials.
I love old commercials. They're hilarious.
My favorite memory growing up is just sitting in the floor, and I had it was near Halloween time, and I had a McDonald's kids meal. It was back when they were giving them out in those plastic
Me too. Buckets.
pail cups. Yeah. And it was a witch, and I had to unscrew the little pointy hat to get at the food. Yeah, that was one of my favorite memories. And I really, really like the film because it just goes into like all the Halloween traditions and why we do what we do in different cultures. But I haven't watched it in preparation because I can't get more specific than that. I'm
That's
just
fine.
going to, yeah.
The scene that always sticks out, I always remember, is when the Notre Dame scene. I always remember that sequence.
That was fucking cool when they were actually building the thing as they were walking.
Yeah.
There was a video game that did that, but I can't remember it right off the top of my head.
I might track that one down. That's actually pretty cool.
I'm sure it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube.
Everything's on YouTube.
Because all stuff that hasn't.
Unless some cocksucker lawyer took it off.
You son of a bitch!
Anything you'd like to add, Bandit? Or any other questions, guys?
Nope.
Well, I going back really quick to Treasure Planet. I mean, I think part of the thing with that is that was like a very awkward stage for Disney when they made that, because they were trying to appeal to like they really wanted to get the teenage audience. Like they felt like they were missing out on the kids who were going to see like the more like action. There were a lot of PG-13 action movies coming out around that time, and continued to do so, and so they were losing out on that audience. So they kind of wanted to kind of spice things up a little bit, make things appeal to a little bit more of that kind of edgy, adding edgy elements, and they did the Atlantis movie as well around that same time. So yeah, I mean, definitely like and what's his face, from John Resnick from Goo Goo Dolls, like you were saying, was really popular following that Nicolas Cage movie where he was an angel. I don't want the world to see me.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's like I haven't finished it. I only watched part of it, but yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from on it. It's like one of those things where they just really weren't like ready to commit wholeheartedly to like a particular feel for the story.
I think if I recall correctly, the Moses on the Spoon Experiment put this on his list of movies that bombed. I think because it didn't do well in the box office, and I think that could be one reason.
I mean, I know one of the guys who was an animator for the film, and he got fired because it was so unsuccessful, along with a whole bunch of other animators that he worked with on the movie. So
you see, this movie, since it's a space movie, it needed more giant worms. That's what it needed. Worm sign.
You need no, it didn't need that. It needed chest bursters. You get a chest burster, you're good.
Chest
Well, I think
bursters, worms, what's
Naked
that,
women.
cataract? Perfect.
You're good.
Can I jump in for a second?
Go ahead.
I think it was because of Treasure Planet bombing that's what caused Disney to switch over to full-time 3D animation.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah,
did.
it was it was like their last ditch effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
It killed it. It killed it.
Then that's when you got Pixar.
Yeah. I guess
You know,
it's
well, like
even
I said-
trade-off.
Well, like I said, that this was 2002, so Pixar came to be in like the mid 1990s. So this was.
Oh
after
yeah, that's right.
Pixar.
Toy Story. Yeah. But it's, at the same time, it really for me it could, arguably it cemented Pixar because when Walt Disney gave up on it, there was very few other people that could compete on the level of Pixar. So.
Well, and I think at that point it was okay. We'll let Pixar do all the the theatrical stuff, and we'll just shove out all the direct to video crap.
Anything else, guys?
Nah.
Any final summaries, Bandit?
It was an awesome film if you don't like singing or whatever.
Okay, Gabe.
Yeah.
How about you?
All right. Well, I decided to go. And I decided in the last few minutes, of course. So prepared am I. Since I was thinking about it, and like animation has never been really nostalgic for me. Like I just kind of took it for granted when I was younger that there were cartoons, that there were movies that were animated, but I didn't really, appreciate them. When I was younger. So. And and after rewatching a couple of ones that I'd been thinking about talking of, I was just kind of like, I think I just watched this a lot. It wasn't like I really cared about it a whole lot. I just, it was one of those things where, it was a safe movie to watch with like other families, kids, so we just watched it a lot. So I figured I'd pick one that I really liked as an adult, And since we were talking about Pixar, really my favorite Pixar movie and probably my favorite animated movie is Finding Nemo. I mean, everybody gives a lot of props to Wall-E, rightfully so. But it's well, okay, maybe not everybody, but Dark Side's like turned into the narrator from "I have no mouth and I must scream."
Hate. If I could sum up how much I've come to hate Finding Nemo, hate for you, hate.
Well, you hate Nemo?
Let's go to that later.
Wait.
Feed me your hate!
Wait. Do you hate Wall-E or do you hate Nemo?
No. Wall-E's great. I hate Finding Nemo. I hate it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, look. Okay, you gone too far.
Here we go.
Lion King, understand. Nemo. Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh, girl. Nuh-uh.
I'm just joking.
Sit
I'm
your
joking.
down.
You
Well,
better
well-
back down, girl.
Well, now it's on. So
Song.
It sounds like a
This
little
will be
bit like
fun.
Adam West
No,
Dark
please.
Side.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, Kate, but continue, please.
all right. Well, I will definitely give you your time with the counterpoint. So, all right. Well, basically, part of the thing that I mean, it's definitely made for kids. I mean, like it's very much. Trying to appeal to a lot of cute kind of stuff. You have all these like, little fish running, swimming around the ocean. Everything looks really like, kind of warm and fuzzy. Everything has this
happy.
and happy.
Everyone starts dying.
And that's like, 70% of the film is like cute fish swimming around and doing funny stuff. So it's. There's
And getting eaten by bigger fish.
I mean, Dory is annoying as a character. I mean, there's really no, she's designed to be annoying, and they succeed. So
And she's voiced by Ellen.
and she's voiced by Ellen DeGeneres.
And she has a sequel coming out.
And I don't know why they're doing that, but
Does that mean she's a lesbian fish too?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
Okay.
maybe she'll meet up. Maybe she'll hook up with Ariel. Who knows? But so the basically what really appeals to me about Finding Nemo is that core story of the father-son relationship. I can relate to, I mean, with my own dad and his own, eccentricities, they're similar to the way that Marlon, is in the film. He's very much, he tends to worry, tends to get kind of neurotic, and it can trip him up in how he's living, and I mean, I don't necessarily relate to Nemo in the sense of, that he's got like a gimpy fin or something like that. But it's but just kind of that sense of wanting to
touch a fisherman boat.
Yeah, touch a boat, and just that sense of adventure that goes on in terms of him having to search what's basically like an ocean in order to get to his son, and then with his son meeting up with of course the crazed Willem Dafoe fish who has this little cult in the dentist office, and
there was a firefight.
They're dead set on getting back in the ocean. I really liked how it's a very comedic way of talking about coming of age and of letting go, without necessarily there being like some tension about it, like
Can't have any. Sorry.
Oh yeah, well like that scene at the end where they're near the end of the film where they get kind of a lot. They see a school of fish that gets caught by this fisherman's net, and so they like intervene. It's like this kind of common thing for us, but like for the fish, it's like this like mass murder. Where like
everyone's gonna die.
Community is wiped out by this by the fishermen, and I really liked the tension of that. Yeah, for kids, and so
for kids.
So the message was fishermen are Nazis.
Exactly. Well, and I really and not to slam fellow critics or anything like that, but I feel like the nostalgia critic kind of overblows that thing of for kids sometimes, because I really do feel like kids need to be traumatized.
Wasn't that Ralph Bashki quote? He says, "Kids will accept anything if you have a happy ending."
No, that's Don Bluth. That's Don Bluth.
That's why all the
sorry.
Don Bluth movies are good.
Kids need to see this entire family get eaten alive by a bigger fish.
If it was Ralph Bashki, it would have sounded like, "Are you seen Fritz the Cat yet? That's got cheese."
Come on, kids, let's get some trauma on. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously there's going to be some things that I think it depends on the kid, but I mean, you need to. I think kids really do need good, strong narratives if they're going to that have dramatic stuff happen in it. And I felt like this was done well enough that it affected me, as I was watching it, and I think while it does have a little bit of that cutesy stuff going on, it is also beautiful. It really does. You really do get this sense of this entire world being being created and unfolded before you. So it's not perfect, but I think in terms of emotionally speaking, it definitely is my favorite of the Pixar movies. So
here's an interesting thing, like Gabe Johnson. So I was reading an article on Crack.com, and they were talking about Finding Nemo.
So it's a credible source.
Yeah.
No, Yeah, well, if it helps, if it helps, and this probably hurt my case, but this is where we found the Alan Rickman and the Teletubby story. I'm sorry.
Context.
Don't
Context. Don't ask.
For your own sanity.
Oh, no. We need views. You need to encourage them to watch. You need to toughen up, and also we need views. Darn it, views.
Well, I'll have to put it on. It's on my channel.
Scarred souls be darned.
So I have to upload it onto the Axis of Action channel because it's on my channel right now. So context.
Was it? So what was interesting with the article was that they were talking about how accurate the anatomy of the fish were, and how they were used. For example, a certain fin would help the fish, for example, roll or turn or propel themselves forward, and they did a great job. And they're talking about how people, critics or people who are great with fish, but marine biology, were complimenting about it. And the scene where Ellen DeGeneres was trying to communicate with the whale. And when you see the whale slowly come in from fade to suck in the fish, they were saying that's actually the first time someone has ever done that that type of effect accurately. Or so there's a great deal of effort, and it isn't just a great story, but a great deal of scientific accuracy.
True.
All right.
At least Guardians of the Galaxy is doing the same thing for raccoons.
Damn straight.
Hooray!
I've been wanting to see a raccoon hero on screen for years.
Finally.
So, now that I've said my piece, I do want to give Darkseid his chance to respond.
Let him out while you have the chance.
Here's the cowboy. Okay. I've been listening to that horse shit of yours for months, and you could take that crap and blow it out your ass, and for good measure, sit on this cave.
Kentucky Fried Movie. Can we count that as an animated movie for a second?
No animation in it.
Aww.
Okay, counterpoint. Okay, here it is. I saw this movie a ton when I was in school, like middle school and high school, because it was always that period at the end of school where, like, it's the last week and a half where they don't have anything left to do. So, like, okay, we'll just watch a video. And
Your textiles at work.
Hey, wait. Can I interject for a second?
Yes.
You know, you are very lucky, because when I was in school, my films that they always showed me was shit like, oh, you gotta be diverse, like Remember the Titans and shit.
Remember the Titans?
Yeah,
They
where
used
black
to
and white
play that.
people, you know.
They used to play that
Yeah.
movie all the damn time in elementary school and high school.
Yeah.
All the time.
Beating you over the head so much I was sick of diversity. I pined to be alone in my white world.
They accidentally turned many people into racists.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh well.
Okay.
We had the in high school for our economics class near the end. We watched that stupid kids movie. What was it? I think it was like Paycheck. I think that's what it was called. Nostalgia Critic did a video on it. We had to watch that shit.
Oh, the one where the kid gets the
$1 million. Blank
yeah,
check.
that movie was balls.
Yep, we had to watch.
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh, the one that has the woman, kid making out with the older lady.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like making out in that town.
Bad touch.
Oh well, you should have heard the reactions
Oh,
of
it's
everyone
Blank
in the
Check.
classroom. You should have
What
heard the
did they say?
reactions.
What was it?
Blank Check. Paycheck was the one with Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, Blank Check. Thank you. Yes. Anyway, getting back to Finding Nemo. So, like I said, they would show us. So I literally go from one class we're seeing it. Then okay, next bell rings. Next class. Okay, we're gonna watch a film. It's gonna be Finding Nemo. So I have to watch the film all over again. I must have seen that stupid film like 4 or 5 times. And then the same thing happened in high school. Okay, first time
You watched Finding Nemo in high school?
Yeah, 'cause, you know, wait, look. Here's the thing. in high school, I guess they still kind of treat us like kids. So, you know, we would see.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no shit. We would see like we did actually watch Schindler's List one time, but it was the ed. It was the ed
Today's
version.
double feature is Finding Nemo. Schindler's List.
I am essential to
I can see it.
effort.
I can
wait,
see it. Look, for
but it
example,
sucked.
the net scene. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Average gamer, please stop while you're ahead. Wait.
In carpentry class, we watched Transformers.
But it sucked because it was the edited version. So whenever there was a gunshot, it would cut away.
Lame.
And then they all carried walkie-talkies.
Walkie-talkies, yeah.
So I don't understand. What did the
And
Nazis
all the
actually
Jews
do?
were replaced by Ewoks.
What else? Oh, we watched the Crucible, but that was like, you know, that and Schindler's was probably the most adult thing we ever watched in high school. It was still the only thing we had in the library was all like kids films. So yeah, I watched fucking Finding Nemo like 4 or 5 times and just got sick of it. First time, it's okay. You know, it's not great. It's not a great story. It's not amazing. The jokes aren't really that funny. But then after you watch it 4 or 5 times, you just come to hate every single line and everyone in the classroom with their big grin on their face and repeating the goddamn lines over and over and laughing.
Dark side. It's my job for hate or adorned.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just blanked out there for a second. So anyway, that's my counterpoint. Glad you liked the film, Cave.
Okay. So,
Asshole.
So in a certain... Oh, so go ahead.
I'm sorry. Darkseid, I know where you're coming from. I remember, I think you guys heard the story again once, but for example, my brother got Shanghai Noon for Christmas, and he watched it for a week straight. I can't watch that film still. So, another feeling.
So I think what Darkseid is trying to say is that I nearly adopted the Finding Nemo, but he was molded by it.
Scolded, tortured. Albert Brooks stood before me and said, "Now you have my permission to die." You have my permission to die.
So, what's your favorite animation
Just
movie?
the dishes. Do you want my permission to die? So, anything else?
So
Closing thoughts.
now you must come out of the darkness and into the light, Darkseid.
You might as well just sing that stupid "Just Keep Swimming" song in the Bane voice. Just get it out of your system.
Just keep swimming, Darkseid. Just keep swimming.
Thank you.
Darkseid, you're the next contestant on Axis of Action.
Oh yes.
Remember, favorite animation? I hated, most hated.
Oh, favorite. Got it. Favorite.
Unfortunately, we're all out of
Now
million
is
dollar
not the time for
prizes.
hate. That comes later.
Okay, favorite animated film. This is gonna be tricky for me because I have, it ranges from, I've seen Disney.
It's Shark Tales, isn't it?
No.
Heavy metal.
No, not that either. Although the bomber scene was pretty awesome. But yeah, I've seen, haven't seen the range of animation from Western and Eastern animation. It's tough. I gotta pick one. So
stop keeping us in suspense, Darkseid. Say it.
Okay, so favorite animated film I have to pick is The Secret of Nim, directed by Don Bluth. And this was a film that I think I probably watched it a couple times, but it was definitely one of those films where when I saw it again as an adult, I remembered, watching it a long time ago. why this film is important is that, well, both to me and to sort of the history of animation, is that this kind of marked the release of this film in 1982 by Don Bluth and Company after they left Disney in 79, 80. Was that it was the beginning of, I guess you could say, Disney being kind of unthroned from the animation chair, because before that you had, besides Disney, what I meant to say was that you had Eastern animation, which wasn't brought over to the States. It was rarely seen in the States. It wasn't until the late 80s that it came over. You had Ralph Bakshi, who I don't like his work, but I still respect him in that he, and just sort of, he did the things he did and was able to, even though not all of his films are great, and some of them actually kind of suck, and they're not perfectly animated, but still respect him for what he did. And really, that was it. All other animation was television animation. And what Bluth set out to do with Secret of NIMH was to tell a more adult story. In fact, he had been lobbying, excuse me, to have the book Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH by Robert C. O'Brien adapted into a Disney movie, but it kept getting put off. And he saw in the Disney Animation Company after Walt's death in the mid 1960s is that Disney was not taking any risk at all, and Walt Disney was a risk taker. He did, Fantasia was a big risk for him. He lost on that one, but it's now known as a classic. But at the time, it was seen as a failure. Well, commercial, that is. And you can see when watching this film that this was a movie that had a love and care put into it. It was made by only a few animators, and making a connection here, one of his first animation gigs on this film was Bruce Timm. He did some of the lighting effects on this. And so besides the great animation and the really attention to detail, it is a really good story, and there are parts of it which actually improve upon the book. Jerry Goldsmith's score is fantastic. The voice acting is great. There's no shoved in dance numbers.
Symbolism?
No, not symbolism. There's no dance numbers. There is a couple times where music plays over. There's a song written by Paul Williams called I forgot the title of it.
There's interspecies erotica.
No.
Yeah, with the rat and that mole guy. They got married.
Save that for the after.
I have no idea what you're. The song was "Flying Dreams." Wait, what? Something about What?
Yeah, that rat girl got married to the mole guy.
You're thinking about. Wait, are you thinking of
Isn't that
Thumbelina?
Thumbelina?
Yes, you're thinking of Thumbelina. Jeez.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
What
All right, I guess
Which
evil
is
are you
very
trying to
disturbing. Yes.
Marry
What
the mole.
evil are you trying to unleash?
Never talk about that
bandit?
movie ever again.
Marry the
Okay.
mole.
Back to Dark Side.
Yes. So, I'm trying to think of anything else to say about it.
What's your favorite scene? What really impacted you? What scene really said, "Wow"? It stuck with you.
Favorite scene. I like to highlight 3 scenes. I can't pick one. I'll pick 3, and I'll be brief on these. The first scene is that Nicodemus shows Mrs. Brisby through this device how the rats came to be what they are, and it's just this flashback sequence of them being picked up off the street, them in a lab, them being injected, and this kind of symbolizing their genetics, their DNA code just kind of splitting apart and then rearranging themselves, and then subsequently escaping from the National Institute of Mental Health. Second favorite scene is the duel between Justin and Jenner, voiced by Peter Strauss, and Paul Sonora, who was another connection. Our previous discussion was Scarface. Paul Sonora was Sosa in that movie. Late Paul Sonora. And just because fight scenes for animation, especially Disney animation, they were always comical. You know, no one ever really got hurt. You know, I think and when you think about when you ever think about classic Disney animation, the only fight scene I can actually remember being really brutal is the one from The Great Mouse Detective. That's the only one I can really think of. And this one it's fast-paced, it's quick. They do get hurt. And it actually, like I said, it wasn't comical. It actually played out like an actual sword fight would actually go. And the third scene, which was my favorite, both because of the visuals and the music, like I point out, Jerry Goldsmith's great score, was the lifting out of the house out of the mud, where it seems that all hope is lost. The stone comes to life. Mrs. Brisby takes hold of it, and she, through a power which is never explained, is able to lift the block out of the mud. And when it does, it lifts in the air, and the music just does this. It goes into like the I guess you could say the main theme of the main musical theme of the movie. It just blasts out, and it's this really powerful moment because of the visuals and, like I said, of the music. And so to wrap up, Secret of NIMH is my favorite animated film.
Are there any points that you wish could have been improved to make it better?
It's short. It's 1 hour and it's an hour and 15 minutes. It could have been longer. I mean, they could have. Some people who are a fan of the books that point this out. That's saying that they could have went more in depth on the Rats' experiences after they escaped from NIMH. But I think it's fine the way it is. I can imagine them expanding it, but I think expanding it would only be a detriment to it. And one thing I do have to point out is that my pet peeve in all these, in every animated film, not every, but most of them, is that the comic relief. And in this film, it's
Dom DeLuise.
It's Jeremy the Crow, voiced by Dom DeLuise. Now, okay. And I will say that in terms of comparing him to other comic relief, even comic relief that he voiced in future Don Bluth movies, his character is not that bad. And he's only in a few scenes, and there's parts where it actually is like his character actually is entertaining. If I had to remove anything from the movie, it was at the very end where the whole thing is that he's trying to find Miss Right, and he just so happens to bump into this other female crow, and she's wearing like a ribbon. She's like wearing a bow or a ribbon in her hair, and I think that's the only kind of cutesy moment that I would have had kind of removed from the film. But other than that, I think it's a perfect film, and definitely one of Don Bluth's best.
Okay, any other questions, guys?
I can't believe NIMH 2 existed.
Oh, I do not mention that.
NIMH 2!
Do not speak its name!
NIMH 2!
I find that movie to be horribly sexist, actually. It's kind of weird to say that about the animated movie, but it is.
Wait,
like, demoting like, Ms. Brisby to, background character.
Yep.
Jesus.
Oh, you silly Sergey. No one wants to watch a movie about a woman. They could just do what they're told and stay in the kitchen.
The
sandwiches.
songs in that are awful, and the
Oh,
fact
they're
that,
terrible.
and the fact that they actually built a statue for Jonathan Brisby. Now, they obviously they respected him since he was a fellow escapee, and he helped them. He opened the gate, the gate to the rooftop ventilation shaft. He opened it up so they can all escape. But they revere him as almost like this great, your father
Jesus.
your father was a hero, Timmy. No, he was. He just opened up the goddamn gate. He was your friend.
He died for your sins, Timmy. You
But
should
he was-
be exactly like him.
But he didn't do anything.
Why?
Oh, go ahead.
What are you trying to say? They should build a statue for the person who actually saved them? That's nonsense.
It makes you wonder if they're going to have a final supper picture with him in it,
That'd be like in Ghostbusters, they make a statue for Louis Tully.
Miss
I did it.
Bisbee has been betrayed.
I did it. I'm a Ghostbuster.
She has been. You will deny me 3 times.
And if anyone, I'm not gonna go into this movie, but since we originally gonna do 2 movies, if anyone wanted to know what my second choice was, it was Castle in the Sky. So that's me done.
Like Laputa, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one.
Laputa,
Laputa.
Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite movie by
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's,
it's a
and that's
beautiful
and that's
film.
difficult, and that's difficult to pick because there's a lot of good films in Ghibli's repertoire, I guess, is their canon of films. But so that's me done. So now we move on to
Jamel.
Jamal, it's your turn, I think.
Again with the French accents.
I'm Canadian.
Oh, well,
Jim.
that explains it then. Well, anyway, my pick, and I'm the rookie, by the way. Hi. So my pick is kind of unconventional because it's not 100% animation, but Average Gamer said he'd allow it, and it certainly has a lot of animation in it. But it's Who Framed.
Everyone allowed it, even Darkseid. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit by Zemeckis.
with animation by Richard Williams.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you. So yeah, like a lot of people of late have been harping on Zemeckis for using the motion capture over and over for like Beowulf and Polar Express, but they kind of forget that this guy has always been ahead of the curve with film technology. And it started with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then he did Death Becomes Her and Forrest Gump had groundbreaking.
Apparently, he's done another live action movie recently.
Well, Flight, I haven't seen it yet, but I heard good things.
I didn't.
But anyway, to get back on subject, it came out 1988, and I don't remember if I saw it in the theater because I would have been about 5 at the time. So I probably saw it when it first hit video, which would have been around 89 or 90, so I was probably about 7. And honestly, this is one of the first movies that made me love film and just what film is capable of, because it honestly blew my mind when I saw all of the live action intermixed with animation. And even watching it today, I still don't know how they were able to do it with the technology they had at the time. It's so seamless, and it really it holds up 100%. And what Cave was saying about children's film having adult stories. This is a dark story if you really think about it.
Yeah.
About Judge Doom wanting to basically plan out Toon genocide to build a highway. And that's another thing, watching it as a child, you honestly get kind of scared and nervous when he brings out the dip to dip that shoe in, and the shoe is visibly trembling and trying to fight for its life as it slowly dies in the dip.
And let's not forget the explicit patty cake scene.
That was
Patty
another
cake,
thing.
patty cake.
And also, this is a perfect example of family entertainment. There's jokes for adults, there's jokes for kids, and like you said, as I revisited it when I was a bit older, I found the patty cake scene to be so hilarious. Because if that was done today, it would be them saying patty cake and showing Roger the Pickers, and they wouldn't show the pictures because it would obviously be sex. But when they show the pictures, it's literally them playing patty cake. So it's still this innocent kind of child thing, but it's brilliantly done.
Yeah, I didn't get it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's the big deal?"
Yeah,
The
no.
ending. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Nothing. I'm sorry.
No, you were saying about the ending.
Yeah, the ending, the final fight when it's revealed that it's the murderer of the guy. The
Remember
protagonist.
me, Yeti?
Oh, that's classic.
Like this.
When
My
I
brother and
killed your brother?
I was scared. It's like, oh my god.
That scared me
Especially
too.
that scene where he slowly gets crushed to death by that steamroller.
Yes.
Exactly. Played to perfection by
He's
Christopher
doing
Lloyd.
himself.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like if you get rid of the child atmosphere, like it's a really cool whodunit detective story that has this really cool '50s noir like jazz soundtrack, and it has a what's his face the British actor who plays Valiant.
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins is fantastic in that film.
Yeah.
Do you have a rabbit?
I love the Mary Brothers.
Do you have a rabbit in your coat, Eddie, or are you just pleased to see me?
I know.
Oh, and that with Dolores, right?
Yes.
She is awesome. She is such a classy babe. I love her.
I love the part where they're hiding from Doom and like he clearly like grabs her right on her cleavage.
Yeah.
To like pull her down behind the bar.
Yeah, when he's in the rabbit's about to go nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also really interesting was the gun. I think it was actually one of the most interesting of the cartoon gun with the 6 ball.
The bullets. Yeah.
Yes, the characters. That was neat. I have not seen anyone do that.
How do
Copy
you
that
think-
idea ever since they did that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
How do you
That
mean
was just
exactly?
cool.
How
Yeah.
exactly do you mean?
And what's actually really funny is that if everyone picks up on this, is that you can actually see there's actually a scene there's a nudity where when Jessica Rabbit gets flown out of the car, you can see up her skirts. Like
Yeah, supposedly they edited that for the video releases.
Good thing I kept my VHS.
There you go. eBay that shit. It's worth a lot.
All that pausing is gonna wear out the tape,
There's gonna be all these blurs.
So another thing that like blew my mind, not when I was little, but when I was more grown up, is the how they have like Daffy Duck and Donald Duck in the same scene together, and then later on you have like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in what I think is their only time they've been on scene together. And when I watched that when I was older, I'm like, oh my god, this is like actually pretty incredible to have these two like animation icons finally on screen together.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Joe?
Well, the only thing I have to say about the animation is that I do find it annoying sometimes when they keep attributing the animation to Disney when it was done by Richard Williams in England with his animation team. And I just and Disney made a comeback with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's like, no, Richard Williams did that, and then you screwed him over on Thief and the Cobbler.
Now I know nothing about this. What was he known for? But besides Who Framed Roger and the Rabbit? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Richard Williams, he did, and you can look this up. He did a animated version of A Christmas Carol from the 1970s. I think it was 76. That was produced by I forget his name, but one of the Warner Brothers great animation legends helped produce it, and it won an Academy Award. And then he did Ziggy's Gift, which was another popular Christmas special. It was a Christmas animated special. In terms of actual full-length movies, he didn't do a lot. He did the Raggy Ann and Andy animated movie, which I did have, and it's creepy as hell. And
Wasn't that on Nostalgia Critics like Top Mindfucks?
yes, it was. And
Yeah.
but the project that he was working towards was this big, and Non-Nostalgia Critic also did a review on that, was The Thief and the Cobbler, which was this long-running project that he
That apparently got like cut to hell.
Yeah, and he started in the 60s, and doing Roger Rabbit was supposed to be, okay, Roger Rabbit, you can't. It was successful. It made all this money. Okay, here you go. Here's all the money you need to finish your movie now. But then a film called Aladdin was going to come out, which had similar setting It was in the Middle
Yeah.
East, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta push this out." So they kicked him off the project and said, "Put songs in there and put Jonathan Winters and that guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off in there. Put him in there."
Hmm.
And going back to Roger Rabbit, last thing I should. The reason why I think and they mentioned this is that the animation is so good in that movie is that the frame rate on the animation is 24 frames a second, which is the same as live action. So that's how they were able. That's one way of how they were able to blend so well.
What frame rate is animation usually?
It's usually 12. That means to save time, they double each frame. So if you watch a movie and you actually pause it and hit the skip button, you'll see the frame is repeated twice. But that depends. It's usually that's how it was in Disney, but some other people have been able to do it with 24. So it depends.
It's really interesting. I guess that's all I have to say.
Sergey,
Sorry, what?
it's your time to play.
All right.
The price is right.
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
All right.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Okay, now that I'm on the spot, now I can't suddenly talk. Okay, what's going on?
It's your turn to pick your favorite animated movie.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Bane does.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, my favorite animated film is actually not only my favorite animated film ever, but it's actually my favorite movie of all. That would be The Land Before Time. Which was
I'm shocked.
No, you're not. Don't lie to me about that.
Oh God! Sweet release. It's been building up to this for so long.
Anyway, actually, I was kind of surprised when I watched it again, and this is kind of a weird thing, but I've actually only watched it like a total of 3 times. The first time was when I was which was like 16 years ago, and the second time was like maybe like a year after that, and then like the last time I watched it was like maybe but 4 years ago actually. I never actually rewatched it for this for our discussion, but yeah, I've only actually watched it only 3 times, and I found out that Don Bluth, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and Gary Goldman were all involved in this movie, and I thought like, wow, that's actually pretty awesome. But this movie is basically like my childhood incarnate, and like what Cave was saying, where it was like that kind of movie where I don't think it actually had any jokes in it whatsoever. It was actually just like one long depression of a film where your parents died. Too bad. Live with it and go find your other relatives. And a lot of people would say that it's like the Littlefoot's mother's death scene. Okay, that was pretty. I actually didn't find that scene pretty sad. Like the first time I watched it, the scene that actually made me where I just kind of like cried like the first time when I was like 16 years ago was that scene where he saw his own shadow and thought that was his mother. Like at that moment, I just kind of like realized, he just when his mother died, you're at that point he was just kind of like, okay, it happened, but he didn't really swallow it. But when you see his face, when he realizes that the shadow was his mother, like it actually comes back to him, and he realizes, oh, that is actually just what happened. And that was the part where I actually cried. But the funny part is actually when the last time I saw it, about 3 or 4 years ago, I saw it again. Well, technically for the first time again since I was a kid. So basically, same time, watching it for the first time ever again. I was eating spaghetti. Weird story, but I was eating spaghetti, and when the opening scene started playing, I started crying. and I didn't know why. Like, it was just the opening scene. Nothing sad was happening yet, and I just started crying. Like, well, I was eating spaghetti, and all my tears were just falling into my spaghetti. Spaghetti, yes. So, yeah, that was it. Weird story, yeah, I know, but
It's fine. It helps us understand why you like it so much.
Frying in my spaghetti.
I think that should be some kind of like a test of how sad a movie is. You get like a plate of spaghetti, it starts up, and then you just start bawling into your spaghetti.
Childhood.
Tears.
I'm so
I don't
nostalgic.
think I told, like, what I did like about this movie. The thing I didn't like about this movie, I thought the length of the movie was fine. It was like only 69 minutes long. But the thing I didn't like about this movie is that every time I mention it, I keep thinking about Judith Barcy, and I don't like to think about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I know you love Land Before Time. What do you think of the sequels? The many sequels?
Yes, all
The
12 of them.
many sequels.
I'll be honest, they got worse every time, but guilty pleasure, I still like the songs. Like the second one was okay, but it was clear like after the first one that they were already doing like a kids series. Like when they got to like basically from the second one, it was already just about a bunch of kids having an adventure. Nobody's dead. Nothing really.
No
sad.
one will die.
And then like onwards, it was just them singing songs, dealing with actually dead people. So, but yeah, I still like the songs.
Anything else, guys? Anything you want to add on to it?
I like Land Before Time '96 where they finally died.
Wait, what?
Hasn't happened. I think I actually haven't. I don't actually know what the current number for
I'll
Land
look
Before-
it up. Hang on.
I think
Give me a
there's
second.
13 total.
Oh,
Yeah, but they died? Wait.
I'm
kidding.
just joking.
Joking.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be kind of cool though. It's like that'd be great. Here's this.
I'm
It's
waiting
like-
for the I'm waiting for the Ice Age characters to die.
It's like the land before the wheel of time. It's like never ends.
I'm waiting for John Leguizamo to die in real life.
Yeah, 13. 13 movies.
I'm thinking about that would be actually really scary, interesting movie. For example, here's this great, cute movie. All of a sudden, it just goes bipolar and goes really dark.
Also, Sergey,
yeah.
what did you think of the high-budget Disney remake?
Wait, there was a high-budget Disney remake?
Yeah, it's called Dinosaur.
Oh, it sucked. Like, it was terrible. Actually, the only thing I can remember from that movie is that terrible animal-on-animal romance. It was terrible. Too.
Tricky, I thought you were into that.
Terrible.
What? Sorry,
That's not one of your fetishes?
Gamer said something and I wanted to know what it was. Rich, what did you say?
I thought you were into that.
No. No. The thing with, I'm not gonna get into this until like the late night stuff because for like obvious reasons. But I was talking about not animal on animal, but like, you know what? No, actually, no. I'm not gonna say it again. I'm gonna shut up.
Quit while you're ahead, Sergey.
Yeah.
Get out, Sergey! Get out!
Average gamer, you're corrupting us. You're corrupting this call. Everything has to be spin so it fits
Well,
into
we have-
your warped mind.
Right now.
So now we move on to Webman, I guess.
Me? Well, I don't know. It's either a tie between The Emperor's New Groove or Transformers the animated movie.
Oh, and Transformers.
Transformers.
Okay.
Webman, you got the touch.
I got the power.
You got the power!
Nothing.
You're
No,
no one's foot.
Now,
nobody's
Cave, you
foot.
have to go, yeah!
Yeah!
Dun, dun, dun. I'm going with Transformers the movie. Why not?
Hooray!
Hooray!
I'll add in.
Boo.
Oh, I liked Emperor's New Groove too.
I'll add in the.
Yeah,
I'll add in
Emperor's
like
Groove is
crowd applause here. In the
The only flaw of Emperor's New Groove is there was no Leonard Nimoy.
No. No, that was not.
True.
Yes. They should have had the Emperor die and get rebuilt with a new body. Then have Liam Newmore voice him.
Galvatron Kuzo.
Webman, I guess here's the question, Webman. What was your favorite song in that movie?
Dare to be stupid.
Dare.
Not
Why
the Dare,
not?
stupid, the Dare song.
Dare.
So what-
Da-da-da-da-da.
Also, what did this movie urge you to buy afterwards?
It didn't. It just sent me. I didn't know to buy anything. I just rented it from the video room. I didn't even know what Transformers was before I watched this movie.
They urged him to buy condoms.
Hey kid, come over here. You want to see my robot in disguise?
It
It's
can transform.
It's a mushroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually saw a porno once, and there's like ass pounders, big dicks in disguise.
You know what? I hate to say it, but you know, you're kind of surprised when, especially with the Michael Bay films. You're surprised you haven't seen one that's shaped as a dildo. You know, nothing really awkward.
I'm waiting. It's probably going to be in the 4th movie.
That's gonna be what
It's coming.
Unicron is.
Literally.
Unicron's gonna be a giant dildo. Tell me the rape.
All right, Megan Fox, you want back in the movie? You got to pay the price.
And stop calling me Hitler.
I don't
also-
think she's coming back for the 4th one, so since now it's Marky Mark and somebody else.
And then
Yeah.
Cape Johnson, what they could do is they could have a intimate scene with the dildo, and then all of a sudden the thing transforms inside her. And problem solved.
Wow, you just killed my boner really fast there.
Megatron's gonna be rebuilt as a dildo.
Thanks, Average Gamer. Jeez.
I'm
God.
Galvatron.
All right, let's let Webman get on with talking about Transformers
Sorry.
before this conversation degrades anymore, at least for the time being.
But yeah, I first watched it when I was a little kid. I rented it from the video room. And I was like, "Oh shit, this is awesome!" And then everyone died, and then I got. I did not do any research for this. Can you tell?
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Optimus Prime died for our sins.
He did. He died.
On the third
Yeah.
day.
He showed
And
rock.
on
You'll notice that the Transformers movie actually had a lot of like Star Wars elements on it.
Oh yeah, it did. The lightsabers, RC's haircut.
And then he became
Yeah, mostly RC's haircut.
Yeah,
The giant Orson Welles Death Star.
Yeah, but did the Death Star have the awesome voice? No, it didn't.
Was the Death Star can transform into a giant demonic monster that can destroy planets with bare hands?
Well, technically,
I think not.
Well, technically, the Death Star did have the voice of James Earl Jones on board, so you could.
Yeah,
You could
it's
do it.
equal level.
Yeah, you could equal that.
best part was Orson Welles was not interested in doing the voice acting. He was bored.
Oh, he
Why
didn't give
should
a
I be?
fuck.
Why
No, he
should I
didn't.
be?
Care.
Didn't he
He
just
didn't
call
like-
it the stupid toy movie?
Oh, no, yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, I play this toy that
Yeah.
eats other toys, and these toys are fighting, and I don't give a fuck.
Well, you can tell he's
my
an old guy. He
God.
doesn't think fighting other toys is like the greatest sounding thing ever.
Yeah,
How
I did that
did I
for
go
10
from
years of my
Citizen
life.
Kane? How did I go from Citizen Kane to this? Fuck my life.
It's called
Yeah.
cake. He ate too much of it.
Worst thing I've done since Casino Royale.
But what scene? What was your favorite scene? What scene that made you say this is one of my favorite films, or scenes, anyways?
I don't know, that fight with Optimus Prime was pretty badass.
Is that where the touch plays? Is that the
Yeah,
the
that's
touch,
where
the
the
touch
first-
plays
the
when
touch
he
plays.
landed. He
No, it plays
lands.
twice. Yeah.
Yeah, it plays as soon as he lands the ship. He gets out and it's like, Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. And then he transforms and the touch starts playing. And then he's all badass, jumps in the air, starts blasting the Decepticons in midair. Lands, kills a few more, then runs off. It's like, This is it, Megatron. One shall stand and one shall fall.
And you know, Dare to Be Stupid is such a weird song to play in this movie, but it works. But it works.
Yeah.
Was there like
Yeah.
any context at all? Because
Well, the
no, they were
Junkercons-
dancing.
The Junkercons are pretty stupid though, so yeah. There's your context.
It was
They
Santa's
learn how to
party.
talk through TV.
Put down that
Well, they became
chainsaw,
friends,
listen
and then
to
they started
me.
dancing, and they needed a party. So Dare to Be Stupid.
Ball runner, bar with the ball.
We'll show
there
you
we-
how you can dare to be stupid.
Dare to be stupid. Say it, shout it out loud. Dare to be stupid.
I can't hear you. Dare to be stupid. I still can't hear you. Dare to be stupid. Okay, I can hear you now.
Webman, wasn't that scene you're talking about? It's Optimus Prime jumping over the Decepticons and shooting them.
It's at the. It's as soon as he lands. It's
Yeah.
you know the
Wasn't that
city
your
has been.
talking about?
We're talking about the touch. Dun dun dun. You got the touch.
Man, you're starting to echo. You're getting epic here.
That was actually very
I got
awesome,
an
yeah.
epic movie. I got an epic scene. Yeah.
Well, this is
Yeah,
gonna be.
but-
I'll use this for the intro song. I'll use this. I'll use the touch.
But my question is, Weapon said, wasn't that your old avatar or one of your old avatars?
What's Transformers? I had several Transformers avatars at one point.
Yeah, I thought you. Someone had a that scene you were describing where Optimus Prime is transformed into his
Yeah.
humanoid form.
Robot
Jumps
mode
over.
and then starts
Yeah.
blasting everybody.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know. I'm sure someone did. I didn't. I don't. I never had a GIF as an avatar.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
yeah, you
You
pronounced
know what's
Jiff
weird
right.
about
I'm
this movie?
proud.
I think like Hot Rod was like a movie-only character, wasn't he?
He was introduced to the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Then
was.
came
I don't think until like he showed up in the show. I don't think he. I think his first appearance was actually a movie, and
Yeah,
it was really ballsy of them to actually make a movie around him and not Optimus Prime. And
Yeah.
actually,
He was like the Luke Skywalker analog.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm glad when he turned into a truck at the end, a truck car.
Well, I want to go pick up some power converters. You have time with your robotic friends later.
How
Yeah.
Did
And
you,
Cup was Obi-Wan.
how did you react to the death of Optimus Prime in the movie? Spoilers.
Alright,
sorry.
like a bitch.
Spoilers. What? I don't know. I was I did admit I was like, "Fuck, this is dark," because I didn't even know who Optimus Prime was. I went into the movie from the movie star with no knowledge of this franchise. Like, holy shit, they killed off badass red robot dude.
I think
You
when I first saw Transformers the movie, it was right after I first saw Wrath of Khan. So I had like this 1-2 punch of Spock dying and then Optimus Prime dying.
First Spock, now Optimus Prime. You
Con!
Well, at least it's not as bad as what it could have been. Apparently, see, the only reason why this movie even exists was so they could kill off the Season 1 toy line. They wanted to kill them off so they can introduce the new toy line. And their original idea was, there's going to be a huge battle, and at the end of the battle, no one would be left standing. Just everyone would be dead. One massive bloody battle.
Yeah, because that would make kids buy you new toys by killing off their favorite toys. Their old toys.
They still killed off most anyway. They killed
Actually,
off
the funny part is
Ironhide.
that, like Megatron finally killed Starscream. Like took him a lot of fucking time.
And Megatron dies too, I
He's
think,
been
right?
but he's been betrayed like 6 million times, like in the cartoon, and then like, oh, now you finally kill him, like, oh, surprise.
And Megatron goes from Frank Welker to Leonard Nimoy for some reason.
Because
I'm not complaining.
Because it's fucking Nimoy. Why not?
The only experience I have with Transformers is Beast Wars, so I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Hey, Beast Wars is awesome too.
Beast Wars was
Yeah,
yeah.
Beast Wars
It is.
kicks ass.
I like the Raptor dude.
Yeah, you know what I like? A show show that gets a lot of hate, but I really like it. Beast Machines.
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Go
I
fuck
know what you're talking
yourself.
about.
but I like the
What?
ending.
It was very divisive.
Yeah,
the toys. I'm talking about the toys now, but I don't think the toys for the Beast machines were as good as the Beast War stuff.
No, not really.
Yeah.
It's because, in Beast Wars, they actually, the way they transform in the shows, that's how the toys actually transform. They actually matched it. But in Beast Machines,
another thing I really didn't like was how the white lion guy and like the eagle wolf girl fell in love spontaneously, and then in like Beast Machines they became like the same person. I was like, what?
No, that didn't happen in Beast Machines. That happened in Beast Wars.
Oh, okay, so Beast Wars. Okay, what? Okay, well,
they get abducted by this alien race, and then they get merged together because they wanted it.
So now he just has to masturbate to have sex.
It's like permanent sex. Yeah.
It's kind of a new character, to be honest with you. It's more like they get mind wiped and merged together to create a new agent for these alien dudes. So they kind of sort of technically like dad.
Well, you see, when a male transformer and a female transformer love each other, he puts his flash drive into her USB port.
Oh God! You should have seen. There's a clip of that, a clip just like that in the anime in the original Generation 1 show, where Optimus is giving some of his power supply to Anita 1, his girlfriend. So naturally, he pulls a cord out of his crotch area and plugs it into her.
Kinky.
And then he says, like a moaning voice, "Oh, Anita."
When does the Allspark get fertilized?
How? Never mind. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
I'm sure I can find a clip.
Yes. One fan fiction search later.
Okay, let's do it.
Actually, I've never seen a Transformer fan fiction, so I'm actually kind of curious to what kind of what the effery is actually.
We're gonna have a fun after hours.
Oh God,
segment.
That can be what we can do after we finish Perverted Potions.
Yeah.
You can look up a Transformers fan fiction.
I'm looking. I am looking.
This conversation turned into a bizarre turn, didn't it?
Well, that's what usually happens.
So everybody went. We could be officially on after hours now.
In fact, yes.
Yeah, looks like whenever we go to Webman, we're about the penis now.
I think this is a good place. I think this is a good place to end this little session of Axis of Action. Any final thoughts?
Pickles.
Be sure to disturb your children.
Just keep swimming.
Make sure you will show them the red wedding scene when they're young. That will toughen them up.
Well, I think that's the end of Axis of Action. That's all, folks.
You got the touch. You got the power.